Good evening, Fulham fans, to another episode of Live by the River. And the experience at the moment is reminding me of a time back in 1977 when ABBA was number one with Knowing Me, Knowing You. And my father would have returned from Fulham v Chelsea in that April 1977, where we actually won 3-1. And some of his favourite players had scored: George Best, Alan Mullery and Les Barrett. And still kind of got a grin on our faces, I think, after that wonderful win. And I think mainly it was because of the two glorious goals that we witnessed. Do you think that they were some of the best goals that you've seen anywhere in the Premier League?
I thought they were really good technical goals. I mean, we have quite the pick this season. Obviously, Wilson is having a goal of the season competition with himself, and then the one that Reed just scored. But they were just really, really well taken goals, both of them.
So, as usual, you may say, I was pretty pessimistic going into this game. I really felt that we were going to get hammered because that would be, the typical Fulham thing, Dr. Fulham, if a team's down in its luck and seems bamboozled like Chelsea are at the moment with no manager. Obviously, one in the wings with Rosenior. I really sort of felt, all right, the script is they're just going to absolutely, wipe the floor with us. I mean, considering the talent they've got in that squad is unbelievable. And even sort of their subs, they come on and you cannot believe just the quality that they have, the depth that they have. So I really didn't believe that we win. I believed that, and you, to be fair to you, you'd say, oh, if they do win, it will be by a narrow margin, and I poo-pooed you. But in the end, Tom, I think you were right about this game. And I think there's two key reasons for that, and that is, three actually, I think. It's Wilson, Raul and Leno. I think they were the reasons why we won that match. And, of course, a fourth reason, which you have to say, obviously, was the sending off. But if we look at Wilson, first of all, have you ever seen him in this form before?
No. This is the form of his life.
And I was thinking about what's different. And the difference is that he seems to be half a second ahead of everybody else. He seems to predict where players are going to be. And there is absolutely no hint of wondering what to do. Everything he does is instinctively correct, and he's so positive. I've never seen him so positive and driving forward and always doing that risky pass that at the moment isn't a risk when he does it. Do you agree, or do you think there's any other reasons why you think his form is just flying so high at the moment?
I completely agree. I think it's completely more to do with what he's doing off the ball, because I think on the ball at Liverpool, Derby, Bournemouth, everyone knew he had a technically brilliant left foot. I mean, he scored some brilliant goals for Bournemouth at free kicks, and you think, okay, this guy's got technical ability, he's just a bit lightweight. Whereas now, what he's doing off the ball, the runs he's making so many more central runs than he used to. I remember in the Championship and the first few seasons in the Premier League, he would just be almost hidden on the wing and he would just be a passenger in games, whereas now he really is forcing himself into games. And he kept on making that central run, which is the reason Cucurella got that red card. And we almost got a goal-scoring chance in it from the second half as well. Yeah. So I just think it's more to do with what he's doing off the ball.
And I think also, is it because he's having to play slightly differently because Raul is getting older, and a bit like Ronaldo had to change his game because obviously the years were catching up with him, so he became more of a poacher. Do you think that Raul is having to change his game? He's getting more deep, and in actual fact it's Wilson that's actually doing all the running and being in prime position to score? Is that anything to do with it or not?
Yeah, no, I think those two are really forming quite an effective partnership. Wilson's doing a lot of Raul's running for him, and Raul will drop into space, which allows Wilson that space to run into. So I think that partnership works quite well. And then also we're seeing a few, like we did for the Liverpool goal, one-touch link-ups, and then there was the Palace goal as well, which is just completely instinctive. You almost can't teach that kind of link-up with two players. So, I think Raul and Wilson are really serving each other at the moment in a way that is benefiting the team, because those spaces for Wilson wouldn't be there to run into if it was a target man, perhaps.
And also that's backed up by our first goal that was disallowed, which was Raul linked up with him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, his ankle was obviously over 5 centimetres over the
but it's lovely to see,
line.
And I've been criticising Raul a lot recently, and I'll hold my hands up and say maybe we wouldn't be seeing this level of Wilson without Raul. In fact, not even maybe, I think that's fairly concrete thing to say, is that Raul is essentially accommodating this run as well. He's been really good recently, even though his goal record for the whole season still is poor. I think that's fair to say. He in the last 5 or 6 games on this unbeaten run that we're on has really stepped up.
And then, of course, if we just go back, obviously that was round about the sort of the 49th minute where we had that goal that was considered offside. We've got the sending off. It seems an obvious red card, and some people suggest it should have been a penalty as well.
I don't think it'd been a penalty. I don't understand the arguments against the red. I mean, the form Wilson's in, I think he would have scored that chance. I think it's not just a goal-scoring opportunity. I was fairly confident that he was just going to put it in. So I think it's absolutely a red card. And at the time I was thinking, I'd have rather the goal. I would rather have him had the chance. But in the end, it worked out.
And of course, there was a flurry of yellow cards for some of the other Chelsea players that were arguing.
Yeah, they have a discipline problem. And I think if you look at the players, it's a very young team. And I think the quote-unquote leaders of that team are combustible. I mean, you look at the midfield pair of Enzo and Caicedo. As soon as Cucurella got red carded, they were trying to get our players booked and red carded. And they did the same thing against Arsenal as well. So I really think that something's been cultivated there, which isn't too positive. I mean, the discipline record's the worst in the league. So this isn't just conjecture. Like, they are factually ill-disciplined.
Well, I was round about sort of the 41st minute. I noted, I mean, Caicedo's an absolutely sublime player. But there was I think it was Berger made a tackle, and Caicedo was rolling around, and really on one instance he paused and looked. It was just, was he really that hurt? And then obviously he just got up and trotted around afterwards. But just trying to buy that, a yellow card for Berg, and I just think you don't need to do that.
Yeah, you said at the time. Yeah, I mean, both of those midfielders cost upwards of 100 million. And they actually do have the ability that they don't need to do that. Yeah. It's such a shame when you see really talented players lean into that dark art side of it, when you think you really don't need to, especially, when you're against players who on paper should be nowhere near you.
But I think it's obviously epidemic, that sort of behaviour at the moment. And in a lot of the top sides.
I think the argument would be they would never have got there if they didn't have that attitude. I mean, I don't like to think that way. I'd like to think that you don't have to resort to that, and but if they are at the top level and they're doing that, then
it's pretending to be hurt, and I just don't think that's right, to pretend that you're actually injured.
Well, they're also wasting their own time.
It's stressfully tedious.
Yeah,
it's really boring, but there's an element of stress, and it makes and puts more pressure on the referee, which means that they'll probably make more mistakes and lean one way or the other.
There was a few where
distorts the game.
He wasn't going to give the foul, it felt, and then it's almost like, and I will say as well, Enzo Fernandez, I think, should have got 2 yellow cards. He did a similar thing against Villa as well. Yeah. But I think because of the situation and he's just sent someone off, I think the referee very much felt in a vulnerable position. And he, even after being booked, he put his finger right in his face. And I just think, we've obviously had previous with the Mitrovic instance, which yes was more aggressive and absolutely should have been a red card, and he got banned.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how that is not even a yellow card worthy, putting your finger in the ref's face. But it happened. Cucurella got sent off. It was a sending off, and then the pressure was on us to actually go and win the game.
No, you see, I actually was a little bit down because I thought we will now have to get something from the game now. The pressure is on us to at least get a draw. And I thought we won't handle this very well and Chelsea will win, which I know seems counterintuitive, but that's the way you become when you've been supporting Fulham for far too long. And I think part of the joy of winning was that we managed to get round that we managed to not do the usual Fulham thing. And that's why it's such a great result, even though I think we sat back. When we did score that first goal in the second half, we actually sat back, which I thought wasn't a good option whatsoever. So if we actually get to that first goal, now, my brother, who's been a lifelong Fulham fan, said that's one of the best headers he's ever seen. And I remember when he scored that, you said that is an absolutely brilliant header.
Yeah.
Would you say that's a world-class header?
Yeah, I mean, headers obviously not as aesthetic because everyone wants to see the ball looping around and there's not much extra movement you can add onto the ball from a header. But to get that amount of power, it wasn't the most powerful cross into him as well. Berger he does whip it round, but it's still so far out, and he really almost uses his neck to power it in, and he gets it low as well, which I think is crucial, because if that's keeper's height, I think the keeper can parry it away, but it's hard and low to the keeper's left, and he just can't save it, and he's still so lethal in the air. He just needs the chances. We aren't actually the best at giving him those chances in the air, but he's still such a good header of the ball, which is amazing considering that he had a head injury, a near fatal head injury.
I still get worried when he does headers, I have to say.
He's so brave, he can generate that power that not many in the league can.
And if you, obviously, with the goal at all angles that Fulham put, that I have watched, again, an embarrassing amount of times, the speed, you don't, because they do a shot, I think, from behind, and the speed that header's going, I was gobsmacked, because I thought it was quite, tame, loopy and soft, well, within reason. And it was like a rocket. So again,
he really comes onto it. Again, the judging, because he's running onto it, the judgment and the anticipation is elite. So in terms of the technique, it is a world-class goal. I mean, it's not going to win any competitions, but, it's just a wonderful header to see, really.
And obviously the provider of that, Berg, I thought he had such an improved game.
What did you think that they switched it from Lukic and Kearney to Berger and Kearney? Because that told me that we were going for a more possession-based build-up, because they're two ball-playing midfielders. And we actually did in the first half have more possession. So I suppose, in a sense, worked. And I thought we saw a little bit more from Berger as well.
Yeah, I think the fact that was such a beautifully weighted pass to Raul. And I thought that Berger did do far more progressive movements in the pitch. He seemed far more aggressive as well. And also, he'd actually provided the assist of the first goal that was disallowed.
Right.
So I think if he could take heart from that, and please, take into consideration, Chelsea were one man down. So you'd think, well, of course he should be doing that.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that he can see that he is able to do that more.
In a sense, it's sometimes harder against 10.
No, I know.
Because they all sit. And
true.
It's harder to make that killer pass. So...
Yeah, so I'm hoping that he will think, and his confidence will take a bit of a leap and be far more creative than he has been. So I thought Berger played really well. Also, when Kevin came on, again a better game. Do you think? Yeah,
it really looks like he's growing into the team, and he kind of knows his role a little bit more, and he's not giving away the ball. I remember early on, it was almost a flip of a coin. It was almost a 50-50 on, is he going to give the ball away? And also one thing I'm really pleasantly surprised by is his defensive work rate is actually brilliant. And you think Brazilian winger for record signing, he's not going to track back. He tracks back really, really well. And especially considering we have Robinson who loves to bomb on, that's really important. And there have been a few times where he's been right back there and winning. I remember he won a header in the second half in our own thirds.
Yeah.
And you're thinking he doesn't really need to do that. But of course, Silva's demanding that from him, and it's lovely to see him do it. So that's something that's really pleasantly surprising. Still issues with the end product, but we are seeing him gain slowly more confidence.
I mean, his shots are sort of getting closer and closer to the goal.
Yeah, he had that one, didn't we, on the counter where he almost uses laces, where before he tries to whip it in almost, doesn't he, with his instep. Whereas it was nice to see him try something different and it hit the side netting. So, yeah, I think with more game time, we'll see the player that we signed.
Fingers crossed. So again, there was an improvement with many of our players. So again, Leno had a really good game. I did a couple of really key saves,
and obviously he was the assister for the Cucurella Reds.
74 metres kick.
Yeah, it was a brilliant kick, and to spot Wilson because Chelsea had pushed up, and then Wilson again, like you said, he's spotting that opportunity which he wouldn't have done a few seasons ago. So yeah, it was really good. And
I think he kept us in the game because Liam Delap had that chance that he saved, and that could have meant that it would have been a different story. And also with about the 50 billion corners that Chelsea had.
Well, they clearly targeted us there.
Well, those corners were brilliant.
They were doing it as if it was going in.
Yeah, in swinging, and I think one of the negatives of Fulham in that match, we just didn't deal with them, and they could obviously see
it's
that.
Probably going to be more teams are going to target it now.
So we need to do something about that. It was just again and again and again doing the same thing, and we weren't really learning from it. And it's just the fact that the Chelsea goal was fluky because obviously Robinson headed it backwards. It then hit our corner post.
And then just there,
lovely poacher's goal was right. He still had a lot to do.
Yeah.
So that was his first goal for Chelsea. Was it Delap?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. I can't remember. But
no, I think he scored. He scored against Barcelona. So I don't know whether in the Premier League.
Yeah. Oh, in the Premier League. That's probably was it. And they deserved that goal from the fact that they kept targeting. With the corners. And also regarding the XG, I mean, they did have a higher XG than us. So on the BBC website, it was our XG was 1.35 and theirs was 1.84. But their XG was mainly due from set play.
Yeah.
So theirs was 1.12 from set play and ours was only 0.22. So if you took out the set plays, we had a higher XG, which is kind of what I want. I don't want to get goals from set play. Yes, I do, but I don't. Do you know what I mean?
It's ironic because I think we're fourth in terms of set piece goals. But it's nice to see a team that is able to create from open play, which we are at the moment.
Well, at the moment we are. Do you think that we're relying too much on worldies at the moment?
I think we're relying too much on Wilson at the moment.
Well, yeah.
In terms of dynamism, I think he's really the only dynamic influence in the attack. And yes, we're missing Chukwueze, who's a dynamo, and Iwobi, who's crucial in that regard.
Because they're playing tomorrow. They're playing tomorrow, aren't they? So good luck to Nigeria on Saturday. So then, of course, we have now it's 1-1, and we just think now the inevitable is probably going to happen.
Well, they brought James on just before the goal.
So that
that seemed like a pivotal moment for them because then they started controlling the play, And whereas before they're a little bit more chaotic.
Why do you think he didn't start? I was so surprised and relieved.
Well, they had a big game
start.
against City, and I just honestly thought they could rest him this game.
Yeah. No, because it did change.
Because it was a midweek game, and we know he gets injuries, so.
Yes, yeah.
And also, they have enough talent still there to win them that game.
And so Chelsea were pushing forward more and more, and that's obviously when they got Delap got that goal. But then they sort of slackened off, I thought. You got and I was so happy because Sessegnon came on.
Yeah.
It was so lovely to see him. Really bright from the off, I thought.
I'd love to see him start on the wing against Middlesbrough or Leeds.
So
because it feels like Robinson has got his place back now. It would be harsh to drop Robinson, but I just think Sessegnon should be in that team.
I mean, Robinson's so wonderful. He's so dynamic. But there's still an issue with his crosses.
Yeah,
I mean,
there always has been.
It literally always went to
even last
the
season.
opposition. Yeah.
If he could cross, he could have had 20 assists.
Yeah.
Not 10. So
it's so wonderful. He gives us so much, Robinson. It's just that crossing ability.
I think he's the best left back in the league. I think he has been.
I think so.
You know, obviously, last season people said Kirkers and Lewis Skelly. I think
no.
Robinson's been injured, come back, and still had better seasons. So I think he's just consistently, on average, the best in terms of defence and attack. You'll have better offensive left backs for sure. You'll have better defensive left backs probably. But I think in terms of combining both of it, I really don't see someone I'd rather have.
Yeah, no, I agree. So also what was really, really promising was that Kevin and Sess were linking up very well as on the left. So, that would be wonderful if that could be a little partnership.
Yeah.
And I thought they worked together really, really well. It's just lovely. It's some real creativity there, which I think, like you say, Wilson was providing all of that. And so it was nice to see it later on in the match. And then Smith Rowe, another solid performance. He had at least two shots, one of which narrowly missed. He was always around, in the goalmouth activity, it seemed, especially with the sort of the second goal where Wilson fed him that lovely ball and he had a shot, and it was from that the goal came. So I think he's really improving. I'm hoping that his confidence is getting better and keeps on making that progress that we desperately, everybody wants from him. So we're coming to near the end of the match, and in the 83rd minute, Reed comes on for Smith Rowe. And this is after this amazing goal that we just referred to. So in the 81st minute, you've got Smith Rowe's shot being parried by the Chelsea goalie, Sanchez. And he parries it straight into the path of
Wilson,
who then... Is he sort of like he kicks it up with his left and then volleys it with his right?
Yeah, so he kind of fakes the shot.
Yeah.
Dummies the Chelsea player, goes on his right, and then he just hits it hard and low. And we do get a bit fortuitous with the deflection off James, but he's just got it on target, which is important in that. If you're in the box, just focus on getting it on target and something can happen. Yeah. And he'd been doing that all game. Like, whenever there was even a half chance to shoot, he was getting his shot off. And keepers hate that. Defences hate that. And that's what he's done. And he got the goal that he deserved because he did nothing wrong in the offsides goal that he scored in the first half. So he did deserve a goal that game. And, it just caps off an unbelievable month for him.
First goal, I think, with his right foot.
This season?
I think so,
yeah. Well, I say caps up the month. Obviously, it's a new month, but he could arguably get the December Player of the Month, and then he's still carrying that form over into 2026. So, it's just amazing to see.
Yeah, I think we really have to enjoy what he's showing us, because I don't know if he'll be with us next season.
It's so amazing that, we were an arguable Tyrick George transfer away from him going to Leeds.
It's nuts considering just the progress. I just cannot get over just how transform's not too strong a word.
Yeah.
It is just nuts.
And I think he's joint now with his best goal tally.
Yes.
So he's going to smash that, you'd imagine. I mean, I think he should. So he's on 7 now. I think he could easily get double figures.
I hope so.
But yeah, I think if he can get around that 12, 13 mark for goals and assists, which is basically already there, then that's an unbelievable showing.
So to give you an idea of, yes, folks, it's Optastat. Wilson got 41.6. That's a really high impact score. To give you Caicedo got 33.2.
Right.
And also brilliant. I mean, this is for Berger got 33.
Yeah.
Which is the highest that he's ever got. So real signs. I'm so pleased Berger had such a big impact. But Wilson's is just off the scale.
Yeah.
What he's doing at the moment, as we thought. So possession, we had more possession than Chelsea. Sorry. And also successful final third passes. We had 159 and they had 72. But obviously that was because they had 10 men. Yes, I know sometimes it's more difficult to break them down. But nevertheless, it's part and parcel of playing intelligently that we won that match. Yeah. And I think we always have a real go at Fulham if we do something that's a bit silly.
Yeah.
And this time we actually managed to keep it together and get that much wanted win. And I think what was also lovely was when he did the dead fish celebration.
Yeah.
Wow. Honest to God, I thought that he'd actually been injured by his own players. Kevin jumped in the air and stamped literally in a very dangerous place. Right. I thought, my God, what's going on? And luckily he did get up, but he literally just fell sideways on the ground. Yeah. Unbelievable. So, yeah, don't do that again, please, Raoul, because obviously you'll be listening to this pod, because we want you fit for the next match, please, which is on Saturday against Borough. I
think he'll start a strong team.
Oh, do you think?
He loves the cups. I think he really targets the cup. So I think we'll see a few changes. I think maybe Sess will get back in and maybe, a few more. But I expect to see a fairly strong team.
See, I'd like Sessegnon to start because I'd like to see him play back into fitness. But I don't know if he'll start. Surely he needs to start Kusiasari.
Oh, I doubt it. I think he'll go Raoul again, personally.
Okay. And transfer market, any news? Have we heard any news?
I mean, other than that rejected bid.
Just lots of rejections?
Yeah, possibly.
Also, again, nothing to worry about, Fulham fans, but Middlesbrough are doing irritatingly well in the Championship. So they're second at the moment behind Coventry with 46 points. I think
they are going to be more focused on their league push. It's a more crucial moment for them.
Really?
I think so. I mean, Silva's ambitious and wants the cups. But I think... So I just think... I'm confident. It could go wrong, but at the end of the day, it's a long shot us winning that trophy anyway. So I'm not going to stress too much about it.
I mean, Middlesbrough, beat Southampton 4-0. So they're obviously on a bit of a run. However, like you say, they are... So Coventry have got 52 points and then Borough's got 46.
But they're catching them up.
And Ipswich 44 and Preston with 43. So they probably want to get a little bit further ahead. So hopefully they won't put so much onus on the FA Cup game.
Yeah.
So we'll see, Fulham fans. So hopefully lots of goals obviously in Middlesbrough's net rather than ours. And please join us when we review the FA Cup match and take care.